Hello everyone, this is Jorge Diaz. I'm the president and founder of Larry Jacob Internet Marketing, and I'm here with another series or another entry in the series called How Do You Spell Infusionsoft, or How Do You Define Infusionsoft Success? I'm here with David Bullock. He's actually a longtime cohort of mine because we've developed several sites. I've actually referred him some business, he's referred me business, but here I'm kind of interviewing him in light of his recent big thing that he's doing, and not really recent, but a couple years with Memberium. He's the technical brains, is my understanding, behind Memberium. He'll probably downplay that, but I know that he is. So I wanted to talk to him because a lot of the folks in our audience would appreciate just understanding where Memberium came from, how did it start, which, those of you that don't know, was kind of like not designed to be working this way, but it eventually became something that we actually do a lot of consulting with. So David, why don't you just say hi to everyone?
Hi everybody, it's good to be here, and it cracks me up, George, because you said, I would downplay that, and I was fighting the urge. You know me too well. So.
He over downplays everything, but if you look at the fingerprints all over the code, it only has David's in there, right?
Yeah.
Right. So David, I know this, but why don't you share with us exactly how this brainchild began? Because I don't think that a couple of years ago you were saying, hey, I'm going to start an Infusionsoft membership product that's going to be a big player. So let us know how it started.
Yeah, well, going back to the early 80s, I got involved. I've been involved in membership systems in a long time. I got started with bulletin board systems back in the dial-up days. And then fast forward, I'm not going to drag you all through the 80s and 90s.
You're seriously dating yourself here, okay.
Yes. But then in the 90s, I ran big multi-line dial-up bulletin boards just before the internet came along. So the whole membership system thing was always near and dear to my heart. And these were pay services like little tiny CompuServes, or if you remember AOL dial-up, or things like that. So then fast forward another way too many years that I care to count, and I got pulled into Infusionsoft by one of my employers who was migrating from Sugar CRM, and that was for a coaching company. And I implemented some systems in-house. We had systems in Joomla. We had some homebrew systems I had built that were membership-based. And he launched another company and brought me on board. And that one, the systems were based on WordPress. I was working with him and a gentleman named Mike Weiss. And
I'm trying to see if I get Mike Weiss on one of these in a couple weeks.
Yeah, that'd be really good. So we implemented another membership plugin for Infusionsoft and WordPress, and we had some scalability problems. We were working through it. In the middle of the launch, the owner shut off our license.
Well, that's not good.
Yeah, and so basically the owner of the company that I was working for said, basically he and Mike both turned around to me and said, we need you to write us an alternative. We need a backup, because I can't have a vendor who's willing to shut me off in the middle of a launch.
Oh, boy.
And I said, well, there's going to be some conditions. It's not going to be an exact clone,
right?
Because I have my own views on some things, and if I'm going to put my heart and soul into it, I'm going to do it the way I think it should be done.
So you started building this for one specific client, not intending to build a generic system.
No, it was built for one specific client, and honestly, at that point, I never thought that anybody else would ever use it. And what happened was as I picked up other clients and they had very small needs for like video delivery after events and things like that, I started using it more and more. Fast forward a little bit beyond that, and I was working for a digital marketer building out their funnel systems.
Okay, so this is Ryan Dice and those guys.
Right, Ryan Dice and those guys. And the CTO came to me and said, hey, we need to switch horses on our membership systems. And we were just kind of shooting the bull back and forth. He didn't even know I had this.
Okay.
And he said, I'm going to build it. I'm probably going to build it in Ruby. And we were just kind of shooting the bull. And I said, well, no warranty, but I have some code that you can use if you want to give it a try. And so they agreed to do like a beta, like a pilot, and all the problems that they were having went away.
Okay, so you fixed some blatant problems they already had.
Right. Yeah, they were having some reliability problems, and so they tried my plugin on a launch, and everything went great. The problems went away, and it kind of grew from there. And eventually, what they did is they moved over all of their sites to Memberium.
And at the time, it was probably just called, I don't know, Bullock's Lab or something, whatever you were calling it.
Well, it was so it's funny. So originally, I don't remember exactly what I called it, but I called it something like Fusion WP or WP Fusion. It's funny because there's a plugin now named that.
Right.
And then Infusionsoft was saying, oh, well, we're going to tighten up on our trademark policy.
Right.
So I said, well, I need to come up with a new domain, because even though I wasn't going to sell it, it's like I didn't want to, get an angry note from Infusionsoft.
Sure.
And I went on like GoDaddy or somewhere, I forget, and they had one of those domain name creators where you put in like keywords and then it pops up all the different variations. And so Memberium was one of the suggestions that.
Really? Not one of the more pronounceable sort of things, but I guess it works.
No,
it's stuck.
Yeah.
Nobody
can ever pronounce it right.
Yeah, so I know we had met a while back because I was looking for someone to help out with some of my servers, and then I referred you to a customer, and then
right.
Fast forward later, I had a customer that was using another plugin to do their their membership site, and really in the middle of the project, I was asked what would it take to move to this new Memberium thing. Mm-hmm. And I go, well, we'll look at it. And then they say, hey, you can get a hold of this guy, David.
Crazy author did.
Yeah. And, so I talked to David, and by that time, Micah was involved already. And I go, okay, well, it looks like this thing is for real. Because, up until that, I had heard rumors of it, but I didn't really know that it existed.
Yeah,
we started using it.
I think Digital Marketer had been for about 6 or 7 months. And then, and I talked to Micah. Mike and I had actually worked together with some mutual clients. And I'd sent Mike an early copy of Memberium. And early copies I sent out to Bob Britton. I sent to Tracy Childers at Wishlist, who I'd met. I sent it to Micah, just saying, hey, if you want to take a look, here's what I'm doing, my project. And Micah popped up about, I want to say it was like 6, 7 months, 8 months after Digital Marketer had been using it, and said, hey, do you want to take it to market? And that's when it actually started to, it was like 6 months after that, because we needed to productize it. We needed to write documentation. Sure. I just been using it for me personally.
No, right. And so this is probably going back, about 2 summers? Is that how long ago it was?
Yeah, because we launched February of last year. And so you go to the summer before that.
Okay, because we were using it spring. We were using it spring of 14. So I guess we were using it in beta mode.
Right after the launch. Well, yeah. So I think if your client that you're mentioning is the one I'm thinking of, because she was another, and those people that I was using it with, who just needed something. It was like, oh, I can throw this up on your site, real quick, and we can get going.
Right, and that's where we've done a lot of Infusionsoft work. We do a lot of consulting work, website design, and WordPress. And a lot of people ask me, it's like, hey, does this thing work? And I go, it works as well as I need it to. Our experience has been that 80% of membership site users use about 10% of the features. And Memberium, even going back 2 years, it had the 10% I needed. I never ran into something that wasn't provided, right?
Right. And that was kind of one of my guiding lights when I built it is I built the stuff that like what we actually use every day. Like you said, like 90% of people use 10% of the functions. And that's been my experience overwhelmingly. And if you have those nailed down, then the rest is really for the edge cases or for the fancy stuff.
Right.
And that's always been
right. And David, I've written comparisons between Customer Hub and iMember 360. I've done comparisons between Memberium and iMember 360. The 3 of those, which are really the top players in this Infusionsoft membership market. When you're setting out to build and enhance this thing, what are your objectives? What are the things that you're seeing people need? What are your top priorities?
They're really around extensibility.
Okay, you're gonna have to explain that even for me.
Yeah, well, so we, like you said, like 90% of the people use 10% of the functions. So then you have the other 10% of the people who want to go above and beyond.
Sure.
And so looking for ways to support them better. We've always had really strong documentation around the ways to look into our stuff via PHP, and we're just kind of looking to extend that, make it smarter, make it easier for those people to onboard. We've always had a pretty liberal policy about working with developers.
Yeah, no, I mean, and I'm, case in point, I've asked for things and you've actually done them sometimes over a weekend, surprisingly.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, I can't go to Disneyland every weekend. Sometimes.
Yeah. For those of you who don't know, he's a couple miles from Anaheim, so he can take the kids there whenever it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. So as we start using it more and more, I know for example, we have a customer that needs to move over to WP Engine, and some of the other systems don't support that. What is it that you're doing that makes it possible to run on something that's so heavily cached like WP Engine?
So one of the things I did from the get-go is because I have way too many years in IT, over 20 years in IT. I went full-time in IT in like 92, I think it was. And so one of my concerns is always that when you build something in an ecosystem, it's all about following the rules of that ecosystem and not bending or breaking them to make your job easier. But how do you become a well-behaved player in that ecosystem? So from the beginning, one of my focuses with Memberium was to make the plugin follow the WordPress rules. Not reinvent things, not twist things to work the way I wanted. And that caused me to design some things differently. But in the long term, what it's done is I have very little maintenance as far as WordPress updates. Some rare exceptions are if WordPress really radically changes something, like recently they've gone through some iteration
back in September, right?
Yeah, or in August, they started, they took a step back and said, hey, we've got some major security issues with our shortcode system. And we realized that we made this thing way too open-ended and we need to clamp down on it.
So this is not you, this is WordPress.
Oh, no, right, this is WordPress. No, there were hundreds of thousands of sites that buy this.
Sure.
Literally overnight, they issued a minor update. Minor updates are never supposed to break things. They're supposed to be little tiny improvements. They issued a minor update which radically broke shortcode functionality.
Yeah, I know. We had a couple customers that were affected. And by the way, just so everybody knows, David fixed this over a weekend. I was amazed at how quickly he responded to it.
Yeah, it wasn't hard to fix. And the reason WordPress didn't give any notice is because they had security problems. And they'd known about the security issue, I want to say, for 7-8 months. And they were working on they were kind of working on it in secret so that people wouldn't be aware of this issue and wouldn't be taking advantage of it.
No, right. You tell the good guys, you tell the bad guys at the same time.
Exactly. So they issued this massive update overnight with no notice that broke shortcodes. And they're still doing it. They're actually planning through, I want to say version 4.4 or 4.5, more changes to the shortcode system. So we'll be rolling with those changes. But overall, as you update WordPress, Memberium doesn't break. We're kind of just following along the rules of You'll notice that most of your plugins don't break when you update WordPress.
Right.
Most of the updates are pretty innocuous, and so into that, the stuff with the shortcode where they're actually breaking things, there's nothing you can do about it. All you can do is follow the discussions, try and stay ahead of the curve as to where they're going. But by and large, it's pretty painless.
Yeah. Well, back to the series is how do you define Infusionsoft Success? One of the things that we spend a lot of time recommending Memberium to our customers. We build an awful lot of membership sites because that's just our space.
Right.
And this tends to be part of that formula. We do have folks that come at us with iMember 360, as the established platform, and so we support them as well because we've probably built as many of those as we have of yours.
I have I think 2 or 3 clients who are still on iMember.
Oh, your own customers. Okay.
Yeah, I mean, consulting clients have, it's fine. It's all good.
I got you. So what can we see? What do you see coming down, down the pipe? I mean, are there any like cool new features that'll really change things?
There are, but I can't talk a whole lot about them.
Okay.
So in getting back to the success, I would say the one thing that I did that has contributed towards our success is I got a good partner, and not to be too Pollyannish about my partner, but I got a partner who filled the areas where I was weak. I'm not a marketer. I work with marketers almost exclusively, but it's not, I can't run marketing.
Right. And by this, you're talking about Michael Mitchell, right?
Yeah, I'm sorry, I'm talking about Micah. I forget we have an audience and it's not just you.
Yeah, no. And by the way, interestingly enough, I've known Micah for 3 or 4 years. So I was part of the marketing automation group that him and Bob Britton had been running for many years. And as a matter of fact, I know Infusionsoft as well as I do, 70% because of him, because he just showed us so many of the tricks of the trade, and I was a developer wanting to learn.
When I got started, like in 2008, Micah's blog was one of the first blogs I found, and I started following along with what he was doing. I never thought I'd be working with him.
Yeah, no, and I mean, I've been picking and choosing pieces out of his mastery, library for a long time. So it was really interesting when you had the Memberium Summit, earlier in September. That I got to. It was the first time you and I met face to face after working with each other a year plus, and it was interesting to see him. He doesn't look quite as young anymore. It doesn't make him old. It just means that he's he's out of his 20s.
I know. I mean, you're older than I am, but from my perspective, he still looks pretty darn young.
Yeah, and
it's
so
like you're at your old.
Yeah, he makes it look like a whiz kid's environment, and it kind of is. But he's done a great job of really positioning it well, and I thought the summit was right on for helping us, all get educated. As a matter of fact, a lot of the lessons we've been promoting now, a lot of these mobile optimized sites, because it was such a major topic of that summit, surprisingly. I know he brought that to speed, having Craig Jacobson as one of the main presenters.
Craig is amazing, absolutely amazing. And I don't know if I can say anything about it yet, but I feel pretty good about it. So we are planning our next event.
Oh, you are?
So that we'll have news about that soon. And,
so is that springtime, or is it this next year?
Yeah, it's gonna be early next year.
Okay, good.
And it'll be in Phoenix this time.
In Phoenix, Infusionsoft land.
Yes, and I think we will see probably another event in Chicago as well.
Good.
I'm still pushing for an event at Disneyland, but they don't let me coordinate the event.
Yeah. They keep you in the labs typing away and building this thing.
In my cave.
Good. Well, hey, David, that's kind of what I was hoping to, cover with you today. Again, a lot of our, blog readers are, for example, I released today a membership site, which is pretty much a Memberium site for learning how to build Memberium. And, so this is kind of the fan base that we have following us, and having people get a chance to meet the guy behind the scenes, the guy who's got the little signature under the plugin in the website, might be interesting.
Yeah, that's, the other thing is if you go to your Memberium plugin on our dashboard, we actually have pictures of all the team members. We've got about 7 team members.
Oh, really?
Yeah. So
if I go into the plugin and I go into by the signature of the plugin install?
No, if you click on the actual Memberium link in the menu.
Oh, gotcha. Okay.
There's a screen with it that says, welcome, your Thunderbirds are go, you're ready to launch, and there's a bunch of tabs there, and the last tab has all the team member pictures on it.
Oh, I will look that up the next time I'm in there, which is almost every day. So cool.
Yeah. So we are working on some overhauls to the user interface. I can say that. A lot of it we're really looking, as always, we're really looking to what we're hearing from the community. So the community's driving a lot of that.
Good. Well, hey, thank you very much. I really appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to speak with me. And,
my pleasure, George.
I'm sure we'll be in touch soon for one thing or another, okay?
I'm thinking for that client.
Yeah, very good. Hey, take care.
All right. All right.